Okay, good morning. In the subject of engineering thermodynamics, today we are going to see what is available energy, what is unavailable energy, what is exergy. So today's session covering all these points. So let's start. So first of all, we will go for available energy. What it means by available energy. So before starting our particular topic, let me explain about the energies. Okay, suppose we are taking an example of IC engine. So IC engine having a piston cylinder arrangement. This cylinder, inside this there is a piston. This is connecting rod. Connecting rod is connected with crankshaft. So actually, this crankshaft is responsible for converting your piston reciprocating motion. So piston will only slide upward, downward. With the help of this crankshaft, we can convert this reciprocating motion of piston into rotary motion. And this rotary motion is available for doing work at the output shaft. No doubt that output shaft will connected to your wheel with the help of propeller shaft, and then your wheel start rotating and your vehicle will move ahead. That's mean forward or in reverse direction also. So this is the basic structure of IC engine. Now we have to provide some source of energy. Suppose it is a bike engine and we are providing fuel air mixture. So petrol is there. With the help of carburetor, we mix that petrol and air and prepare a mixture, fuel air mixture, and that fuel air mixture is supplied to the engine. During suction stroke, it gets filled. This cylinder will filled with complete air fuel mixture. When suction stroke is over, this valve will be closed. Then we must have outlet passage, outlet channel, so that whenever there is a combustion, so our exhaust gases can move out from the system. So this is the exhaust valve. And to ignite it, we have spark plug. Now imagine during suction stroke, complete volume is filled by petrol and air mixture. This mixture having certain heat generating capacity. Itself air don't have any kind of heat generating capacity. It don't have calorific value. Calorific value is belongs to fuel. So petrol having a heat generating capacity, that is called calorific value. Now, if I burn this whole mixture, how much heat will generate? So total heat generated will be mass of fuel multiplied by calorific value. Even though it is a mixture of air and fuel, but air don't have any calorific value, it can't burn. Your fuel having a calorific value, when it burns, so how much amount of heat is generated? So mass of fuel multiplied by its calorific value, this much amount of heat is generated. And how it get burned? So we have a spark plug. So at a particular time, this spark produces spark struck, and this spark initiate this burning, combustion of air fuel mixture. We require air only for the sake of providing oxygen for burning. So air fuel mixture chemical reaction take place, that is called combustion of fuel, and a tremendous heat is generated. And the total amount of heat generated is mass of fuel multiplied by calorific value of that fuel. This much amount of heat is generated inside the piston cylinder arrangement. Now, whether this total heat generated is converted into your output shaft, this total heat generated is actually available to rotate the shaft. No doubt this shaft further going to connect with the wheels, and wheels going to rotate and carry your total load, total vehicle. So total heat generated by burning of fuel is not available for this output work. Why? As soon as this heat is generated by burning of fuel, this your engine part get heat up. No doubt it is a metal part, so that all parts absorb some heat. So some heat is absorbed by these all engine parts. So no doubt total heat is reduced. Then after, some heat is extracted by whatever be the cooling system is there. If your bike engine is there, so air cooling system, so surrounding air will extract the heat. If it is a liquid cooling engine, so your surrounding liquid cooling medium extract the heat. So some part of this heat generated is removed by your cooling system. Some part of this generated heat is removed by your lubrication system. Whatever be the lubrication is provided, no doubt that also get heated. So heat is carried out by that lubrication system. A remaining part, along with the exhaust gas, it will move out and enter into the atmosphere through silencer. If you check, so outlet of the silencer, that exhaust gas is having some temperature. That means total heat is not utilized by piston. Some heat is exhausted through exhaust gas also. And ultimately there is a radiation. So some heat directly radiate. That means whatever is the total heat generated by burning of fuel, it is not available for our work done, for our piston movement. Many losses are there. After all these losses, whatever be the power available on piston to do work, whatever be the energy available inside the cylinder to do work, that is known as indicated power. So this much power is available to do work. This much energy is generated, this much energy is available to do work, because some part is already lost. So there is number of losses. After all these losses, what will be the power available, energy available to do work, that is indicated power. Now this much power is available on piston. Now piston will start moving. So there will be a friction. So our some power lost to overcome this friction. There will be a bearings. Bearings can minimize the friction, but it cannot eliminate the friction. So bearings, there will be some power loss to overcome that bearing friction. So all these power losses in friction, that is called friction losses, the exact amount of energy available is get converted into work done, and this is our output. So in short, total heat generated is not available for output. There are number of losses. After number of losses, the exact energy available to do work on piston, that is indicated power. When piston actually started moving, it has to overcome a number of frictions. After deducting that friction losses, whatever be the energy is available, that energy is actually converted into output shaft, and that is called the brake power. So there is a number of losses of energy, and there is a some portion which is actually converted into output work. So the portion of this core energy which is lost is not available for conversion into output. So it is not available for output. So that portion is known as unavailable energy. And the portion of this heat energy which is actually get converted into output, that particular portion is known as available energy. So we are talking about total energy generated, then available energy, then unavailable energy. So out of total energy, some portion converted into useful outcome, useful work, that is available energy. And remaining portion is not available there to convert into useful work, that is called unavailable energy. So hopefully this bifurcation is clear now. Now we will move on to our thermodynamic system. So to clear this concept, I just use IC engine example. So total heat generated is not actually converted into output. Some part is lost. The part of energy lost or which is not available for converting into work done, useful work done, that losses consider as unavailable energy, because that energy is not there for conversion purpose of work output. So unavailable energy. Now, as I said, the available energy, so let us see one example. Suppose there is one heat engine, and this heat engine is a reversible. And we are supplying heat from some heat source, and that heat source is at suppose pH temperature, and from this engine we are taking work output. So this work will be a reversible engine work. Now what our second law of thermodynamics says, Kelvin Planck statement, it is impossible to construct an engine which work in a cycle and continuously producing output with 100% efficiency. So this is impossible as per the Kelvin's Planck statement, second law of thermodynamics. So it is never possible that you are taking a heat from source and complete heat is converted into work output. Why it is not possible? So energy basically having two categories. First is low grade energy. And second is high grade energy. Now, low grade energy cannot be converted 100% into high grade. It is not possible. So 100% conversion is not possible. The energy which is not possible to convert 100% into high grade, that is low grade energy. But a reverse of this is possible. That means high grade energy can be 100% converted into low grade energy. Now, which is the low grade energy? So, heat is a low grade energy. So, heat cannot be completely converted into high grade energy, and work is a high grade energy. So, it is not possible to convert 100% heat into work. Because whenever heat is supplied, no doubt at the initial state, some portion of heat will absorb by the system itself, by that metal parts. Some heat will be directly radiated. So it is never possible to convert total heat into work. There is some losses always. But the reverse is possible. High grade energy can be converted into low grade energy. So work can be 100% converted into heat. So if it is possible conversion 100%, there is no need to do the analysis. But here, heat is not possible to convert 100% into work. That's why there is some portions, some parts which is convertible, some part is not convertible. So we have to do some kind of analysis to measure how much is the efficiency, how much is the part converted, how much is the available energy is there, how much is the unavailable energy. So heat cannot be completely converted into work. So it is never possible. You are taking Q amount of heat, suppose this Q supply is completely converted into work done. Our second law also saying the same thing, it is impossible. What is possible? Possible is some amount of heat can be taken by any heat engine. Out of that heat, some portion is get converted into work done, and no doubt there will be some portion which is rejected to heat sink. And no doubt atmosphere is considered as a heat sink for all machineries. So whatever be the exhaust gases, thermal emission is exhausted into atmosphere. So atmosphere is assumed as a heat sink. So this is suppose T0 atmospheric temperature. So as per discussion, some portion get converted into work, useful work, and remaining portion get rejected, the percentage, the portion, the part, amount which is converted into work, that portion of it is called as available energy. And the remaining portion which is not converted into work, that is rejected, that is called unavailable energy. So available energy, the part of the low grade energy, which get converted into useful work, so this much energy which is actually converted into useful work, that portion is only called as available energy. The remaining portion which is exhausted, rejected, that is not available, so it is called unavailable energy. Now the next point is how we can calculate the efficiency there. No doubt, this is a heat engine, so there will be an efficiency. So efficiency of this reversible engine will be output. What is output? Output is work done. What is input? Input is heat supply. Now, if I am going to calculate the work done, how much amount of work done is done, so it will be efficiency multiplied by total heat supply. Now, suppose my heat source is at, suppose for example, it is at 100 degrees centigrade. We are assuming. And suppose atmospheric temperature is 25 degrees centigrade. But we are not rejecting heat to the heat source atmosphere at 25 degrees centigrade. Suppose we are rejecting heat to some higher temperature heat sink. Suppose that higher temperature heat sink is at T2 and it is suppose 50 degrees centigrade. So I am taking heat from 100 degrees centigrade heat source. Some part get converted into work, some part is rejected to heat sink which is at 50 degrees centigrade. So how I am going to calculate the efficiency? So efficiency formula will be 1 minus, it will be T2 upon TH multiplied by total heat supply. So if efficiency is 60, that means 60% of QS is actually converted into work done, 40% is rejected. If efficiency is 30, that means 30% of total heat supplied is converted into work done, remaining is rejected. Now efficiency, how we are going to calculate efficiency in terms of temperature? So the formula reduces to final form is 1 minus T2 upon TH. So this much amount, this much percentage of this total supplied heat is converted into work done. Now from this, if I want to increase the amount of work conversion, if I want the more work, then what is the option? Heat supplied is not the option, because this much amount is there always. So there are two temperatures. Heat source temperature. Suppose my heat source is same. Heat source is same. That means each time I am burning the same petrol in my IC engine, bike engine. So each time whenever that petrol get burned, so same heat is generated and temperature remains same because same fuel. So when burn it, so we get the same temperature range. So each time by burning that fuel, petrol, I am getting 100 degree centigrade temperature. I am getting QS amount of heat available. Now, so TH is fixed. I can't change it. But if it is possible to increase the work, what is the possibility? Either, no doubt this is fixed amount, so I have to reduce this. If I reduce this and become 1, when this bracket become 1, it means total heat supplied get converted into work done, maximum. But this is against our second law. So I have to minimize this. That means whatever be the possible, I have to minimize this. It should be nearer to 1. Now 1 minus this T2 upon TH. 1 minus. If this is the minimum amount, so it will be a maximum portion. So suppose 1 minus, it become 0.2. So total bracket value is 0.8. If 1 minus this T2 upon TH is 0.6, then total bracket value is 1 minus 0.6, that is 0.4. So I have to minimize this bracket. T2 upon TH should be as small as possible. When either I increase the value of TH, if I increase the value of TH, this total fraction will be reduced, or I have to decrease the value of T2. If it is not possible to increase the value of TH, in that case I have to decrease the value of T2. So total bracket value will be minimum. Now increasing TH is not possible because I am each time using the same fuel, so same temperature will rise. Decreasing T2 is possible. Right now it is 50 degree centigrade. If I decrease it to 30 degree centigrade, so no doubt more work will be done. So more work will be done. So likewise, I am decreasing T2. How much the lowest possible temperature I can decrease? That is up to atmosphere. If atmosphere is 25, so I can decrease my heat sink temperature up to 25. After 25, it is not possible to decrease the heat sink temperature unless and until I use some external means. External means, suppose I am using some refrigeration system to bring this temperature below than this. But for that, I have to provide some external means. Naturally, I can reach up to only atmospheric temperature. So it is possible that I am running this engine in between 100 degrees centigrade to any intermediate temperature, suppose 50 degrees centigrade. So my work conversion will be less. If I decrease this 50 to suppose 40 degrees centigrade, my work output will be increased. Then 30 degrees centigrade, again it will increase. But when I reach it to my atmospheric temperature, then the maximum possible conversion is take place. Because below atmospheric, it is not possible to maintain heat sink without using any external means, a refrigeration system or cooling system. So what can I do? I can decrease the heat sink temperature to the atmospheric level. After that, it is not possible. That means I can obtain a maximum useful work when I reduce my temperature range from TH to TO, that is atmospheric. Then only I can get maximum useful work. If I decrease this band, if my atmospheric temperature is increasing, so suppose my atmospheric temperature or heat sink temperature is this, so my useful work will be reduced. So if I am going to increase my atmospheric or heat sink temperature, my useful work is reduced. Where I get the maximum useful work when my sink temperature reach to atmospheric. After that, I can't decrease my temperature, heat sink temperature. So this temperature, atmospheric temperature, is a dead state. So after that, I can't decrease the temperature. So that is called dead state. So atmospheric temperature, atmospheric pressure, P0. So whatever be the conditions, properties at atmosphere, I can't reduce this property below that without using any external means. So I can obtain a maximum useful work when I reach to this dead state condition. No doubt, I can run this engine at different range also. That means TH is there. I can run this engine up to this T1 temperature. So my useful work will be this much. I can run this engine up to T2 temperature. Then my useful work will be this one, up to T2. I can run this engine up to T3 temperature. Then my useful work will be up to T3. So my useful work will be increase or decrease depends on the temperature range of heat sink and heat source. But maximum is only possible when I reach to dead state. After that, I can't increase the useful work. So maximum possible useful work is when I reach to dead state. So dead state, it can be explained in a very common example. Suppose what is mean by a dead state. So suppose we are considering one turbine. There is water reservoir, a huge water reservoir, which is coupled to some another water sink. Suppose we are considering the same amount, same size. And in between this, there is suppose one turbine. And one reservoir is filled with water. Second is empty. Now, as soon as I allow this water to flow, turbine will move and we are obtaining work output. What is the energy available? Energy in this reservoir this much. As soon as I allow this water to flow, water will flow from this channel. It will run this wheel and enter into second part. And here water level will rise. Here water level will drop. And we are getting continuous rotation of this wheel, that means output. Now the question is, when your turbine going to stop? Anyone please reply.
When the left side is below, nearer to the level low.
Okay. So when your complete water will decrease and it become empty, and this column, this reservoir will filled up to that condition, or when it reach to such situation where its rise level and its drop level become equal.
Yes, sir.
So when level are balanced, so your turbine will stop working. Correct?
Yes, sir.
So there will be no flow. So whether this total energy, whatever be the available, is actually used for work done? No. How much energy is used for work done? Up to this. So this is called available energy. So this much amount of available energy. On the original water reservoir, if I am going to show this. So up to the drop of this level, up to the drop of this level, there will be a work done. So this much energy is available to do work. When your water reach to this level, then there will be a no work done. That's this. No doubt there will be energy stored in this water column. But this energy is not available, so it is called unavailable energy. So this portion is there, but it is not useful to do any kind of work. And what is this state? When the both column having the same level, this is called dead state. That means after this, you can't extract any more amount of work done. Dead state. If your level is, there is some certain difference, then also it is possible. Still, both levels are not matched. That means still there will be a flow, still there will be extraction of work done. But when your level gets matched, then it reach to dead state. So maximum possible conversion or maximum possible useful work is possible when you reach to dead state. Dead state. Up to that only it is possible. So always remember, maximum useful work is possible until your system approach dead state. Once it approach a dead state, then there will be no any further work possible. Now the next term is exergy and energy. The last point. Exergy and energy. So whatever be the total amount of energy is there, having two parts. One is exergy and second is energy. What is exergy? Exergy is maximum useful work conversion. So maximum amount of energy which can be converted into work, into useful work. It is not the exact amount. It is the maximum amount of energy which can be converted into useful work. So, in the previous example, there is a turbine. This much height is there, water height. Maximum amount possible, conversion is possible when these both levels are same. So that means this is the maximum amount possible, because at this level it reach to dead state. So exergy is the amount of energy when your system approaches dead state. When your system approaches a dead state, up to that there is a possibility of maximum conversion into useful work. But it is not necessary you can use that dead state in a position only each time. It might be possible you are not running this turbine till your water level in both the reservoir reach to same level. You are each time running your turbine up to this. So it is not reaching your dead state, but still whatever be the requirement of your work output is satisfied. But when we are saying exergy, so exergy means when your system reach to dead state, that much possible amount which can be converted into useful work, that is the exergy. So energy is here also, in this case also, the energy conversion is take place, but it is not the maximum possible useful work. When maximum possible useful work? When it reach to dead state. So exergy is related to the amount of energy which can be converted into useful work. But which amount? The maximum possible. And when maximum possible is when your system approaches dead state. Now, what is energy? This is maximum amount. So, what is energy? Energy is the minimum amount of energy which cannot be converted into useful work. So, energy is the minimum amount of energy which cannot be converted into useful work. Now, what it means? Minimum amount. So, minimum amount, suppose IC engine is there. Whatever be the precaution you taken care, you can take it, but some portion, minimum portion will be exhausted definitely. So that minimum amount which is not converted into useful work. Suppose your IC engine, every loss is you stop by any method, any using application. But at the most, your exhaust gas from the cylinder must be removed from your piston cylinder arrangement. So if only the exhaust gas carrying heat, all other energy losses are stopped. So minimum amount of energy which is carried by that exhaust gas, that is only not possible to convert. Because by using all other means, you stop the losses, but you can't stop the removal of exhaust gas, because your cycle should repeat. So your cylinder must be clean, your cylinder must be empty from exhaust gas, and new fresh mixture will be sucked inside, so that your cycle will be repeated. So if you eliminate all the heat losses, but still at least exhaust gas heat energy is the portion which is not available for conversion into useful work. Minimum. If your heat is carried by cooling water, then that is the additional part. If your heat is radiated, then that is the additional part. But if you all sources of heat losses are eliminated, then also the minimum amount which is carried by the exhaust gas, that will be the loss. You can't eliminate that. So you can't stop removal of exhaust gases from cylinder. You have to remove out. So no doubt that is the minimum amount of energy which cannot be converted into useful work. Other can be converted. So your minimum amount can get changed, but this is the lowest possible minimum amount which is not at all possible to stop to being a loss of energy. You can't utilize this energy. This is the minimum possible amount you have to reject. Otherwise, your system become opposite to your second law. All energy get converted into work done, and this is not possible. So there must be some amount, minimum amount, which will be lost or rejected. Then only your engine will be practical.